So yeah, unfortunately, as we just got on the line together here in the last couple of minutes, you told me that you were finishing up a recap of what went down in San Diego regarding UCLA's football team not being able to field enough players to compete tonight in the Holiday Bowl. But this is, I believe, the sixth game that's been impacted in the bowl season.
It has. Now, the plot twist here, Mark, is that this game got called off 5 hours before kickoff, like going right down to the wire. And apparently, per Bruce Feldman, who broke this story, UCLA was good enough to play yesterday, but not today. Like, boy, that is just such a last minute deal. And so I don't want to say like, okay, you just have to push through and play no matter what. I mean, we want to honor public health and safety, but this is no way to run a business. And this is no way to treat paying customers. This is definitely no way to treat the NC State fans who went all the way from Raleigh to San Diego across the whole United States, the contiguous 48 states, to see a game they were excited about, that we were excited about. But boy, you got to have a better plan. You got to have more contingencies. And, it's very interesting. Next week we have LSU in the Texas Bowl, and LSU appealed to the NCAA to have for a waiver so that Garrett Nussmeier could play without burning his red shirt. Like, that's the decision LSU is waiting for from the NCAA to hopefully allow Garrett Nussmeier to play. Because if he can't, then LSU has to play a walk-on at quarterback. But doesn't that bring up the larger point, right, Mark, that bowl games should not count toward red shirts? Like, that should be pretty obvious. One would have to think that this situation with UCLA is going to move the ball in that direction, but we should be doing other things to make sure that these bowl games that people travel across the country for, they're not scheduled months in advance. They're scheduled weeks in advance. Like, you need to put on the event. You need to find a solution so that people, commit to holiday travel. They're making a sacrifice of time, money, resources. You need to give them what they pay for. So, like, we need to find out ways to expand rosters. And the other thing is, and we're going to touch on this a little bit it's kind of a separate thing, but it's still kind of under this larger umbrella of issues, that if we want to reduce players opting out of these bowl games, such as the Peach Bowl, such as the Rose Bowl, showcase games, players should be given a take-home paycheck. Not a king's ransom, but like give them $1,000 check. Like, ESPN's making enough money is being generated that you can do that, and you can honor the work that's going into this from the athlete side. In terms of the Holiday Bowl, like, there's Arash Markazi, longtime Los Angeles-based journalist. He tweeted out a lovely photo of Petco Park, the new home for the game, all decked out, painted end zones, the football layout for a baseball stadium. A lot of man hours went into putting on that event and staging it, and now for what? So, hopefully this is going to reform. I'm not anti-bowl. I'm just against the way the bowls are put out, in terms of the current format. You just have to treat your product and value it a lot more than what we've seen. So, college football will hopefully dramatically, substantially reform the way it administers these bowl games so that we don't have these kinds of situations again with NC State, UCLA. It's avoidable, and it shouldn't be viewed as acceptable by any means.
UCLA was eligible under the protocols to have played a football game yesterday, but not today. Also, along the lines in which you're hitting, one of the reasons the main reason we have these crazy names of these bowl games is because of the sponsorships. Well, the sponsorships are the outdated version of NIL to a certain extent. Why don't we just use some of that money that's being paid to the various, TV networks first and foremost, but everybody else that paid by that particular company, and circumvent that money and pay the players to try to ensure the product?
I mean, you put it beautifully, Mark. I mean, there's not much for me to add there. Like, there should be a way to just fold that into the NIL provisions and enable players to get a cut so that they're not opting out of these bowl games. Like, you put it great. and hopefully that'll be done in some form or fashion.